Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week we've got some of our favourite plinking targets out on the practice range. But before that, it's time for some corvid control as I head out to the farm to tackle some troublesome jackdaws. Out on farmyard pest control rounds today, quarry I'm expecting to encounter includes feral pigeons and jackdaws. Both are causing problems here by stealing animal feed and stored grain, but also by their droppings going into feed and water troughs, which obviously poses disease risks to livestock. On top of that, the jackdaws are a particular nuisance because the buildings here suit them to a T. There are lots of openings, lots of ledges, just the sort of places that jackdaws like to nest. So there's the added risk of them establishing themselves and having an even bigger population once they've bred in the spring. So it's important to keep their numbers under control. So let's load up and get started. Proving that a pest controller's work is never done, I'm back on the farm again. A compact airgun is a real asset when shooting around farm buildings, and the Daystate Huntsman, in hard-hitting .22 calibre, is ideal for this type of close to mid-range pest control. This isn't the most picturesque venue I've ever hunted in, but airgunning is about much more than that. In this case, it's about providing a useful service, and I might be in with a head start as I round the corner and spot a jackdaw inside the barn. He's a fidgety one and I have to watch the backdrop, but with a click to make him freeze, I've got him exactly where I want. Well, that's one down. Jackdaw swooped into the barn then, and watching it, it looked like it was picking at the grain in the hay bales. I had to be very patient taking the shot because it's a flimsy roof here. I couldn't just take it and risk making a hole in the rooftop. So I bided my time and waited until the jackdaw was lined up with one of the big thick steel joists, which gave me a nice safe backdrop. Even then it wouldn't keep still, hence I was squeaking and clicking just trying to get it to freeze. Eventually it stopped just long enough for me to get a headshot in there and bring down the first one of the session. Brilliant! There's nothing like an early kill to get the session rolling, and this was a perfect start. Well, that was a nice easy retrieve. Clinically dispatched with the Daystate. I'm using the Huntsman Regal today, and being a nice compact gun, it really does lend itself to use around the confines of farm buildings. Also, with a silencer fitted, that mutes down the muzzle blast really nicely, so it's not causing any undue disturbance to livestock when I'm taking shots around these sheds and barns. The gun's multi-shot magazine is also useful. There's a chance that we could encounter rats today, though it's not so likely during daylight hours. But if we do, it's always good to know you've got the reassurance of a quick follow-up shot when you're targeting fidgety rats. You've probably noticed that I'm wearing camo today, but it's not really essential on the farm. Busy farm like this, pests quickly become accustomed to the comings and goings of farm workers, noisy machinery, and even the noise of livestock. So today, I'm wearing it to keep warm and dry, and not so much for concealment. That's all the chat we've got time for. It's time to see what else I can get in the bag. With both avian and ground-based quarry on the list, I need to keep moving and keep watching, and I soon make it to what seems like a promising location. Well, we haven't seen any rats yet today, but this looks like quite a busy run here, and you can even see where it's been dropping maize. So although we haven't seen any by daylight, I dare say there's a lot of rats moving around here by night, and I'll certainly be back to target them another time.
The rats might not be showing themselves, but the jackdaws certainly are. Stalking towards the barn, I've come across a pair on the roof. I can see enough of them for a shot, and the Daystate is well up to the task at this distance.
There's another one. There were two out on the roof there. Managed to bag one. His mate wasn't hanging around, I don't blame him, but I got a feeling this roof is probably a spot that they're using as a bit of a lookout before they commit to landing down in amongst the yard. So what I'm going to do is just hole up next to the silage clamp, keep still, and see if I can maybe pick off another one from here.
Ambush tactics can often pay dividends, but you need to be patient. Initially, all is quiet, but I have confidence in this location and wait it out. Finally, the roof gets another visitor, and I quietly drop into a kneeling position for the shot.
Well, that one's not going anywhere. As much as I like to retrieve shot birds when I'm out on a pest control job like this, that one's going to have to stay there for the buzzard. Looks like we found quite a productive spot here, so I'm going to stick around and see if it yields any more.
It's turning into a reasonable day at the jackdaws, but I could do with a couple more to really put a smile on the farmer's face. It's gone quiet at this location, and I start to get itchy feet. It's time to revert to plan A and move on.
Well, we've given it a fair crack here, but it doesn't look like it's going to produce any more, so I'm going to wander on around the farm and see what I can find elsewhere.
The stalk is back on, and I go for another lap of the farmyard, looking for any sign of jackdaws perched on the roof or scavenging on the ground. There's nothing doing on the perimeter, but it's when I head back to the barn that I spot my next target. But it isn't a jackdaw. A feral pigeon would have made a welcome addition to the bag, but it isn't to be on this occasion.
Well, although the farmer wants rid of the doves, that's a shot that I just can't consider taking. Although I'm a real advocate of using concrete backstops, it only really works if you're shooting square on at it. At this low angle, if I were to miss, or even if I were to hit on a headshot, there's every chance that the pellet could skim back up. And with the stock behind, it's a risk that I can't consider taking, so I'll be back another day to deal with those.
So it's back to the main event of the day, and before long I'm rewarded with another shot, a particularly steep one at a jackdaw on the roof.
Well, I had to get down very low for that shot. Because the bird was part way down the roof, I needed to get a very steep upward angle so the bird was silhouetted against the sky rather than the roof being the backdrop and the risk of the shot causing damage. Also, I had a nice safe fallout zone behind, just open fields, so I knew that if I were to miss, the pellet was going to land somewhere safe, so well pleased with that shot.
Four jackdaws isn't a bad tally for the session. There are certainly worse ways to spend an afternoon, and I'm looking forward to coming back for a go at those rats.
Well, it's gone quite well, but we're going to have to call it a day now. It's a busy time of year on the farm at the moment, and there are contractors whizzing around everywhere. And as well as having to be mindful of any risk that we pose to them or to the livestock here, we need to think about our own safety, and it's just getting a little bit dicey around the yard now, so we're going to wrap it up. So unfortunately we had to leave those feral pigeons, but that's the way it goes, and to be honest with you, frequent short visits are often the best way to tackle this kind of pest control, so I'll be back again before too long. An interesting assignment on the farm there, and a few more scavenging jackdaws brought to book. Now, it's over to the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. Brought to you by the Airgun Centre. Voting is now open for Airgun Shooter Magazine's prestigious Airgun of the Year Awards. Categories cover everything from CO2 pistols and gas ram guns to springers and pre-charged pneumatics. Plus the coveted Airgun of the Year title. You don't have to own the airguns you want to nominate. You can choose the dream airguns you long to have in your collection. To vote for your favourite airguns of 2014, visit airgunmagazine.co.uk, click on Airgun Awards and fill in the voting form. Voting closes at midnight on the 31st of December. A must-see for all airgun shooters, the Great British Shooting Show takes place at Stoney Park International Centre in Warwickshire from the 13th to the 15th of February. And tickets are on sale now. The industry showcase is a great opportunity to try and buy the latest releases from major airgun and accessory manufacturers, with a whole airgun city dedicated to our sport, and featuring loads of have-a-go airgun shooting activities. The team from the Airgun Show and Airgun Shooter Magazine will be at the show, and we look forward to catching up with you. Hill air pumps are considered by many to be the finest available, and the new Mark IV model is their best yet. Made in Sheffield, the 4th generation stirrup pump comes with Hill's patented dry air system, which removes 90% of moisture to prevent harm to the inside of your airgun, and it's stacked out with a host of new features. High volume is maintained, but pumping now requires even less effort, and a longer outlet hose makes it even easier to connect to your airgun. The Hill Air Pump Mark IV retails at £180, comes with a limited lifetime warranty, and can be field stripped in minutes for quick and easy maintenance. With winter tightening its grip, Stanley vacuum mugs from John Rothery offer a handy way to transport hot drinks when you're out with your airgun. And you don't even have to put your gun down to take a swig, because the button that opens the mouthpiece can be operated single-handedly. Release the button and the seal is restored. The smaller mug costs £25 and will keep liquids hot for 4 hours, while the larger version seals in the heat for 6 hours and costs $29.99. And finally, the Airgun Show's parent channel, The Shooting Show, has hit 10 million views. Since the channel launched in 2012, it has put out 136 weekly episodes and has also gained more than 25,000 subscribers. The Airgun Show is a growing part of this broadcast network, and with more than 20,000 new views a day, it is sure to hit the next milestone before long. That was the Airgun Show news.
Anyone lucky enough to find an airgun under the Christmas tree is going to be keen to get out and put some shots through it. With that in mind, I've been trying out a variety of plinking targets that will not only help to brush up your marksmanship, They're also great fun to shoot. Let's start with the Cordless Resetting Pigeon from Nockover, a British business that's regarded as one of the best in the target game. Hit the pigeon's head and it falls over with a smack. Land another pellet in the 40mm kill zone and the head pops back up, ready for you to whack it over again. There's no messing around with pull cords. Some resetting targets can be a bit sticky at longer ranges. I've been testing this one with a legal limit 177 out to about 40 metres, and it's gone over and reset with every direct hit. This target can be pegged down to prevent it from creeping, but its weight's enough to hold it in place when it's set out on grass. It's quite heavy, too heavy to carry around with you I'd say, but its robust build quality means it'll last for years. Very impressive for a target that retails at $18.95. Moving on to something very different, the flip target walks backwards every time your pellet hits one of its 55mm discs. So every direct hit pushes it a little bit further away and presents you with another disc that's just a little bit harder to hit. Lightweight and compact, the flip target comes in two halves that click together when you're ready for action. Afterwards they quickly pop apart so you can pack it back into your bag. There are various models to cover different calibers and power levels, so make sure you choose the right one and follow the instructions carefully for safe shooting. The flip target retails at $29.99. Made from super tough polymer, its makers say it's good for 2,000 shots. The pellet strikes on mine have hardly left a mark, so I wouldn't be surprised if it lasted a lot longer than that. Best of all, the tough polymer plates don't lose their colour when you hit them like painted metal targets do. Next up is the Zombie Knockdown Target from Great Fun. Targets with human outlines have their critics, but this ghoulish offering is bound to find favour with the Xbox generation. This target's finished in a spooky fluorescent yellow. A strike with a pellet anywhere on the zombie topples it over. Then a quick yank on the cord flips it back up, ready for the next shot. The zombie target retails for just £11 and its makers say its 3mm steel construction will withstand the clout of a 40 foot-pound airgun. That's going to equate to years of abuse from a legal limit airgun, and its useful life is further extended by a wire trace that connects the target to the pull cord, preventing it from being dissected by pellets. The next target brings the fun of the fair to the plinking range. It's the Auto Reset Knockdown Target from SMK. Based on the classic fairground duck shoot, you shoot over each of the 4 ducks, then hit the central target to pop them back up with no need for a pull cord. It's fun stuff, especially at longer ranges or if you race against the clock to see how quickly you can whack over the ducks and pop them back up again. This is by no means a compact target, but it should last for years, making its $29.95 price tag great value for money. It can be mounted on the ground or on a wall. It's great fun to shoot, plus the steel box serves as an excellent pellet catcher. Nothing beats the fun of seeing and hearing the effect of a direct hit on target, so we've saved the explosive one until last. The Flash Firebird 40 is an awesome pyrotechnic target that goes off with a bang, a flash and a plume of smoke when you hit it. Far more substantial than the usual plink of a pellet hitting home. The green extreme version goes off with a heck of a bang. And there's a blue version for use in urban areas, but be warned, even the muted Firebird goes off with quite a thud. You need to be 18 or over to buy these targets, and do make sure you read the instructions for safe shooting and storage. A pack of 10 40mm Firebird Airflash targets costs $9.99, so they work out at about £1 a pop, and they come with a free reusable mag plate target holder. Simply screw the holder onto a safe backstop, pop in a target, and you're ready for detonation. That's a brief overview of some of the targets that have been brightening up our practice sessions, and we'd love to hear about your favourites. Whether off the shelf or homemade, do let us know what's been keeping you entertained on the plinking range. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. A very Merry Christmas from all at the Airgun Show. And if you aren't already a member of the BASC, check out their website and have a look at some of the benefits that they're offering to Airgun members.